Hello everyone, welcome to my makeup challenge channel. Let's cut that. Hi everyone, welcome to my makeup channel. I'm Fiona with Makeup, and today for my first ever video we're going to be looking at my entire eyeshadow collection. When I started out with loving makeup, I'd say 2 years ago, it's like 2018. Towards the end of 2018, I did not see myself having a huge eyeshadow collection, let's be honest. It sort of just grew out of nowhere. Or actually, no, it didn't grow out of nowhere. I just kept watching a lot of makeup-related content. One of the first creators I remember watching definitely was Kathleen Lights and, you know, Tati Westbrook. And those two are just really phenomenal saleswomen, so because of their very persuasive reviews of things, I splurged. And today I have now ended up with a bunch of eyeshadow palettes. I think mid-2019 I sort of did a massive declutter of things that I felt I wasn't going to use a lot of, and so I mostly just sold those off on Poshmark. Given the current situation with COVID, for the foreseeable future, I do not see myself letting go of any of my palettes until all this is over, just because of, you know, hygiene, and if I ended up passing, you know, something from my personal collection onto somebody else, and, you know, that ended up being contaminated with COVID, I don't want to be responsible. So, no, I will not be doing I will not be doing any of that anytime soon. I do have a listing on Poshmark right now for my Born to Run. No, Run to... What's that palette called? It's the Run Wild palette from BH with, collaborated with Tina Young. That one I do have listed there for $15. I'm going to take it down as soon as I put this video up because it's an old listing. It was pre-COVID, which was interesting because I actually got an offer the other day for like $9 on it, and I was just like, I'm not comfortable doing this. We're not doing that. I just ignored the offer. I really should have just declined it straight away and not given anybody hope of, you know, getting it, but I'll give my opinions on selling used makeup another day. So, let's get started. I'm gonna pan you guys over to my little handy dandy table down here. Bloop. There are all my beauties. So mostly over here, this pile, and my 3 Kaleidos palettes here, I have used. Everything on this back wall, I have not used yet. COVID has propelled me a lot to buy a lot of my makeup online, and yeah, those are my palettes I still need to go through and check out still. Actually, Naked Honey should be here too, but she doesn't fit currently. And then currently, I'm working on these two guys. A little fun size palette from Sugar Pill and the Alyssa Edwards palette. I actually got the Alyssa Edwards palette pre-COVID or it was like March? Yeah, March. So like just when COVID hit, when it went on sale, and yeah, yeah. Just justifying all of my purchases because they're on sale. Actually, no, not most of my purchases have been on sale here. Maybe the Moonspell palette I bought full price, but that's besides the point. Let's see. Let's get started on the very first palette I bought. Here she is, Dream St. Kathleen Light's first collaboration with Colourpop, and certainly not her last. She's been with me through thick and thin. I got her about 2018 or mid 2018. And I used to wear her like all the time. Like, this was my go-to palette for work, school, everything. Just a really, really awesome palette. And you can see here, she's had some wear and tear. She's not in the best condition. If I can get the camera to focus. Come on, sweetie. Focus. Oh yeah, there she is. Yeah, she's not looking her best, but she does well when she can. I've hit pan obviously on Mooney because I tried to do like a pan project privately by myself. And yeah, I hit pan on Mooney. She's a really great highlighter. But ooh, yes, I'm sad she's discontinued. But she's not going anywhere anytime soon, that's for sure. Never, I'm not gonna get rid of this. A lot of fun memories with chocolate because I used to work at Godiva. But yeah, she's a good boy. she's a good girl. Next up, this is in no particular order now. I have the Just My Luck from Colourpop. As you can see, well, my battery died. So let's get back into this. Just My Luck, I think I bought this when Colourpop had a sale. Oh, I left the door open, hold on. I bought Just My Luck, I think on a sale back in 2019. Since then, I've used this palette off and on. The last time I used it was, I want to say February of this year, February, March, because I was doing a project pan and I rolled this in. And I was working on the shade Act Naturally. Yeah, I think you can see that. And you know, it gives me the good swamp green creature vibes at an affordable price. And I mostly got this on the recommendation from Julia Mazzucato. She's a great little indie creator, or not indie creator, she's a great little small YouTuber. Yeah, I love her. She's influenced me a lot in many of my current makeup collection purchases. You know, she's great. Anyway, fun fact, every time I end up watching a new video from her, and my boyfriend sees me watching it, he's always like, oh, is that your twin? And I'm like, yeah, it's my twin. Yeah. Excuse me, it's the... Don't mind me dying. I'm not dying from corona. Just have a bit of, I'm gonna get some water. Alright, I'm back. Almost, I managed to control myself. Just dying. I don't know, I get this weird thing now where like sometimes I'll feel like a bit of mucus just like coming, you know, down into my throat, and it makes me want to choke. It's so bizarre. And don't worry, that's water. Anyway, let's get back into it. So, finished off with Just My Luck, gushed about Julia Mazzucato because she's great. It's my pleasure. Also, Julia Mazzucato. I could attribute her for almost everything in my collection thus far. Yep, there she is. I will say Mr. Sandman over here, the shade, oh, she's so out of focus. Focus on her. Okay, yes, there we go. Mr. Sandman over here, he is quite a beauty. Also Earthshine and Do or Do. I haven't really picked it up a lot recently. Maybe I need to downsize my collection again at some point. Maybe I have to wait till COVID's over to do that. Because I definitely have some, excuse me, I definitely do have some palettes I'd like to go through. Anyway, next palette is Le Blue Moon. Because everything is Le Blue Moon, or everything it starts with a Le. There she is, looking pretty and blue. Yeah, I mostly got this palette because I was so obsessed with how Blue Blood looked back in when it released in what, 2018, 2019. I was so obsessed with how it looked that, you know, I was like, Do I really want to splurge on, you know, a Jeffree Star palette like that? Probably not. Plus, you know, I'd heard reviews about the packaging being super bulky, and since then I'm glad I haven't bought anything from Jefferson Starship, just because of, you know, all the things he's done and said, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I just wouldn't want to support someone like that, let's be honest. And that's the thesis. So yes, Blue Moon, I found out would be a kind of good alternative. Like, sure, it doesn't have the teals and, you know, the sort of swampier greenish blues that Blue Blood has, but it fulfills my niche of wanting an all blue palette. It definitely has the more unique blue colors in my collection. As you'll see later on, there's going to be a lot more weird stuff, or more teal stuff, I should say. Next up is this little Sephora palette. Now you're wondering, Fiona, what are you keeping in this Sephora palette? So I went on a bit of a destructive rampage back in the day. I think it was like earlier this year. I got really bored and I was just like, do I really want to keep, you know, the glitters that are in the Sweet Talk palette from Colourpop? And so I decided, you know what? I'm gonna depot it and I'm gonna get rid of the 2 glitters that's in the fucking palette. And yeah, I'm gonna do that and put it in an empty palette. And this is the result. Yep, kept every single one. I love Side to Side, by the way, she's great. And then I also depotted another Supershock Shadow from Colourpop called Issa. Yeah, she's this sort of purplish, dark blue, very foiled shimmer shade, and she's lovely. I remember this is my first and only ever Supershock Shadow. I do have one highlighter, but this is my only Supershock Shadow, and I bought this, I want to say around July. Yeah, July of 2018, about the same time. I think it was on the same order as Dream Street. So yeah, I depotted it, and I remember the day of 4th of July, someone actually complimented me on my eyeshadow, and I was like, oh, thank you. Ah, yes. One of the many times in retail I've been complimented for my eyeshadow, because it's literally the only time I really go ham on my eyeshadow, besides when I went to school. By the way, just graduated. All right, next up is the Joseph Colors Desi Friendcation palette. I got this off of Poshmark, yeah, for about $20-something. I highly recommend getting this palette if you're looking for something, you know, neutral, easy to wear, like a good beater palette. Like in the car community, they always say, oh, a good beater car is something like a car that you just drive every day, you know. So for me, this is a good beater palette. It's got your basic ass shimmers. As you can see, your basic ass shimmers here. Very blendable, easy to wear mattes. I would say the white shade for me is not my cup of tea. I don't know, for my complexion, like I'm not super white, and you know, this kind of white shade, this kind of white shade for me is a little superfluous. I don't know, like I guess it's good for highlighting the eyebrow, the brow bone. It's good for highlighting the brow bone, I guess, but otherwise, I don't really use it for much else. It's not a super versatile shade for me. The green here, ooh, she is so good. She is so swampy green. I love her. Let's see, the blues are great. I prefer the lighter blue for sure. Oh, I see it here, a little hair in there. And then I accidentally dug my nail in the little mauve-y shade here. I love pairing, oh, see, I'm doing it. I love digging my fingers in things. It's probably what my boyfriend would say. So mauve-y shade here, dug my fingernail in there. She's doing okay. And then my shimmer shade here, she's basic, but she's cute. So she's not going anywhere. And I also got this on recommendation from Julia Mazzucato, because she loves this babe. She loves this thing. All right. Oh, moving right along. Now, I know everyone has their assortment of Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes, and I do too. So yeah, actually I'll put this little palette over here in my pile of, I haven't tried all of them yet, but I'm getting through them because I want to test her out a little more. So let's see, what was my first one I got? So I got Subculture as my first ever Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, ABH. I see why people abbreviate it now because it's so hard to say like really fast. Anyway, I bought her off of Amazon. It was $25 on Amazon at one point. And this one I believe is one of the reformulated versions. I bought it on a whim. My boyfriend made fun of me for buying makeup and I was like, okay, this is only the beginning, honey. This is only the beginning. He actually made fun of me today because I got the 2 new Juvia's Place palettes that I'll show towards the end. That yeah, I may have a shopping problem. Anyway, there she is. Woo. Looking pretty. Haven't dug into her too much. I will say, the darker shades, I tend to go real ham on them. And then I end up looking really just dragged out like I am today. Very easy to go ham, but the color scheme is just so grungy and unique and just giving me a lot of Seattle vibes. And I can say that because I actually lived in Seattle, so there. And I also graduated from a high school there. That'll be a story time for another day. All right, my next palette I got from ABH was the Norvina palette. Woo. This one was on my list to buy for quite some time, mostly because when I used to watch Jeffree Star, the boy raved about Soul over here. And yeah, she's looking a little grungy, especially the shade Dazzling up here. I was working on her for Project Pan and I was just kind of like, I give up. I give up too easily on Project Pans. Especially when it comes to eyeshadow. I'm always like, oh, I don't wanna ruin my babies. They're precious. I don't wanna ruin my preciouses. Sorry if I flashed a mirror there. But yeah, no. Good for the springtime. I love her during the spring. And yeah, still not a fan of this weird felt stuff. As you can probably see, she's looking a little grunge, a little dirty. The felt is really hard to clean off. What I have found that works though is taking a washcloth. I googled this, and you take a washcloth, put some soap on it, and rub it into the felt. And that cleans it up pretty well. Just let it air dry, you know, don't put it in direct sunlight. Never put your palettes in direct sunlight, which reminds me there's sunlight coming on my palettes. Do as I say, not as I do. And yeah, that was the Norvina palette. Next up, these next couple palettes I got off of Poshmark, by the way. So these two are not going anywhere because I do, like, after buying something off of Poshmark, I refuse to, you know, give it to someone else again. That's just, to me, that doesn't read very sanitary friendly. But anyway, Modern Renaissance. A little grungy currently, but, you know, she's doing fine. I rescued her, and I think she was about $13, $10, something like that. Super cheap. There she is. We get the picture. Actually, I wore Love Letter like all over the lid this Valentine's Day this year. And I got complimented at the girl at Sephora as I was checking out. I was checking out the Millennial Pinks palette. That's who complimented me, or that's what I was buying when I was there. And I was just like, oh yeah, I just have Love Letter all over the eye. It's just such a great it's just a great palette. Anyway, next up, Soft Glam. Yep, y'all all know her. And she came to me with a pan already in Dusty Rose. She was well loved. And then I made a small itty bitty pan in Tempera. Yes, in Tempera. And honestly, on days where I'm feeling super indecisive, Soft Glam, that's the girl. And probably my favorite out of all the ABH palettes that I currently own is, you can see from Yes, yes. She also has my favorite packaging. Yes, this is, for those of you uninitiated, this is the Jackie Aina palette. She is still currently in production on the ABH website. I'm not sure if she's still available at Ulta and Sephora, but I know she's on sale for $31.50. I've been checking. Oh, is she gorgeous or what? I will say she is worth the hype. She is really worth the hype. I really hesitated initially on, I have some specs and trust issues. Ironic. I have a purple speck in Wiggley's. What is this? Y'all see this? Yeah? Okay. Just to show you. Anyway, yeah, I watched a lot of reviews before buying this palette. I think I saw Raw Beauty Christie's review, definitely Julia's. I know those two really, they're great. They're great YouTubers. They're great beauty YouTubers, how could you not? Anyway, those are my ABH palettes that I've gone through so far. And then next up, I have another Colourpop palette. Fun fact about me, I used to own quite a lot of Colourpop palettes before really going in hard on other different brands. My current, probably the most palettes I currently own from a particular brand now is Juvia's Place, just because recently they had a really good sale. Like, a lot of their palettes were just like $10 each. I actually got the festival palette for $8, so that was great. Yeah, currently Juvia's Place, as you'll see, I have a lot of her. But Colourpop, I used to have maybe 13, 15, 20 palettes, something like that. I had all of my collection was basically Colourpop. And then I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I want to try other stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love Colourpop's formula in general. It's a very like well-pressed formula. It's not too dry, not too soft like ABH. It's a good pigmented formula. And I love it. I do like their stuff. But currently I have the I Love Sarahi Through My Eyes palette collaboration. This girl, ooh, just screams Latina vibes. And with my skin color, girl, she looks great. I love her. All right, next up, I'll take them out because they keep hitting the sun. No, because the sun keeps moving and the sun keeps hitting them, so I'm taking them out of their misery. My Kaleidos palettes. As you can see, I have just the 3. I got them in a little bundle, Bloop. I got them in a little bundle that I curated myself off of their website. And honestly, this was one of the first indie brands that I really explored into and made me realize, oh, there are other things besides the makeup that you usually see at Ulta and Sephora. So, first one up, I got her because I heard a lot of people saying, oh, this is totally a dupe for the Melt Gemini palette. And I was like, sure, I don't want to pay $58 for a Melt, for Melt's stuff. And she's cute, no. So this is the Futurism 1 Sci-Fi Green palette. And I'll try and edge that mirror away so it doesn't focus. But, packaging. That stunning tie-dye green alien amorphous blob I love. And the shades are a swamp green creature's dream, which is what I love to go for when I'm feeling extra weird. So she can stay. All right, Futurism 3, Astro Pink. Just opening her up. Oh, I love it when those things slide out. I keep mine because I'd like to know the names of my shades. There she is, looking fabulous and basic, but I don't care. She's great. Very unique color stories within all 3 of the palettes, honestly. And then probably my most used out of all of them and my overall favorite is the Electro Turquoise from their summer collection, 2019. Just a stunner of a palette, just so unique with the blues and the orange, pop of orange here, and then the brown to deepen everything out. Probably the most compliments I've had is when I pair these 2 shades with the shade here. What shades are those? That's when I yeah, so it's Tron, Force Field, and Shockwave. Those are probably my favorite shades out of the entire palette here. Super easy to travel with if I ever traveled. And really great palettes. I have 3 melt palettes. I bought them all at full price too. So the very first melt palette I got was the Vita palette. There she is. I really was going into Sephora to find the Muerte palette, but unfortunately they didn't have it. And I was like, you know what? I'm already here. It's my lunch break. I'm gonna treat myself. And oh boy, is she worth it. Just a stunning array of colors. Each is very different. Like they're decidedly different on the eyes. Just overall a really great palette. The browns, all the mattes in here really blend like a dream, and the shimmers a little bit chunky for me. The chunkiness of the glitter, the chunkiness of the shimmer eyeshadows do remind me a lot of ABH's formula. And, you know, as long as you do your eyes first and then do everything else, I think you'd be fine. But otherwise, solid palette. Just a really stunning collection, honestly. I'm glad I didn't try to buy anything else, or else I'd be bankrupt. And then next is her sister, the Muerte. Now I really went ham for the Muerte when I first got it. Like I would wear it, I used to wear it quite a bit, and then I rolled it into a project pan, and I had the shade Duello here. Probably can't see much of an impact in there, but she's been in through the ringer with me through 2020. So she can stay. And then last but not least is the Millennial Pinks. Now I will say the packaging, as Melt usually does, is Melt always nails it with the packaging here. And it's no exception with the Millennial Pinks. And then here she is on the inside. Honestly, I've only reached for this palette once, or actually twice. I've used it twice, and I've only used the pink shades. I haven't used the silvers here. And I wasn't as blown away, honestly. I would say the packaging and the hype got to me, and I was just like, you know what, I need to have this. I need to have a pink palette. All right, next up, my first ever BH palette, the Desert Oasis. I was actually persuaded to get this from, because of Tati Westbrook. And you know, she's a basic, simple palette, but just so pigmented, and really, when you can find this on sale, is totally worth it. Totally a steal. Especially the darker shimmer shades here, like Cactus, Prickly Pear. Really great shades, really dark, grungy, everything you could ask for. Highlight shades I don't really use that much, honestly. They're kind of just there. I guess I could use them more to be in the inner of the eye. I could put them more in the inner part of my eye and maybe on my cheeks, but I always forget that these are here. This is the, as I mentioned, the Run Wild palette by Tina Young and BH. But she's a great little travel palette. I actually used to watch a lot of Judy on, you can find her on, she does a lot of Colourpop reviews, and she has a huge Colourpop collection. Something I do not strive to have anymore. But she has a huge collection, and she's a really sweet person. Love her. Go support her. She's over in New Zealand, I think. And she's really chill. But yeah, here she is. She's stunning. She's got, you know, 2 highlight shades here. I want to say 3 blushes and a bronzer. For me, the orange and the yellow really stand out on my skin, and it's a little alarming to see me with such bright eyeshadow, but initially this wasn't my cup of tea. When I first tried it on myself, I was like, oh god, what did I end up buying? So I haven't used her in a while, actually, because of that. Maybe I should get back into her. Yeah. you know, once I get through trying the rest of my palettes that I just bought. Anyway, next up, the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. This is the first ever Urban Decay palette that I bought. Before 2018, I was never really into makeup, honestly. I had no idea who Urban Decay was. So, the Urban Decay Born to Run palette, this is, for me, a very easy to wear palette. Besides the two pinkish shades here, for me these do not pop enough as I feel like they should. They could be more foiled. I really wish Wild Heart was a little more foiled. But she's a really great travel palette. The first time I bought this palette, I bought it at full price from Sephora back in March of 2019. And then shortly after, I took it with me to my boyfriend's mom's wedding to her current partner. And I used this palette on my eyes. I used, for the wedding day, I used Radio and Big Sky down here, and then I combined that with a little bit of Wanderlust and Drift to darken it out a little. Such a good look. That was a good look. And then after that, I brought it back home and didn't really use it that much. So I thought to myself, maybe I should declutter it, maybe sell it off. I sold my palette off, and for a while I was fine, and then one day I saw somebody, maybe it was Julia talking about it? I don't know. No, Julia made me realize I didn't want it. It was somebody else, I forget, some other YouTuber I was watching, and she made me miss that palette. Now, I normally don't miss palettes when I declutter them. I'm just like, oh, I think about them from time to time, but do I really want to? I don't really miss palettes that often. And for me, just associating this with, you know, a special event, the first time I ever got to go to a wedding, and happened to be my boyfriend's mom's wedding, I felt kind of nostalgic and kind of longed for the palette. And so I thought to myself, you know what, I'm just gonna go on Poshmark and buy it again. And I did. And this one is not going anywhere. I think I bought this for about $20-something, so of course I lost money. But, you know, that's the game of makeup. You're always gonna lose money. And then next up in my list of eyeshadow palettes is the new nude from Huda Booty. Here she is, that Instagram, the most basic, but really, she's a basic palette on the eye, but oh my god, is she stunning to look at. So yeah, no, Huda Booty, new nude. She's not going anywhere. I haven't tried the, you know, little glitter shades here. For me, glitter's been an on and off topic for me in terms of like, oh, I have pressed glitters, but do I want to put them on my eyes and risk, you know, damaging my retinas, my corneas? But do I also want to look like a fabulous drag queen and just have glitter everywhere and look like a unicorn? Yes. So let me know in the comments your feelings on glitter, because I'd love to get in a deep dive on glitter. Have I really worn glitter on my face? I've tested it a couple times using the Sweet Talk palette. I used the glitters a couple of times to see how they looked and how they'd feel taking them off, and it's a really weird moment when you take them off and it's all over your eyes and you can barely see anything because it's so blurry and filled with glitter. Yeah, that's my entire experience with glitter. Being slightly blinded for a second and then washing it all out and being like, oh, thank God. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this incredibly long-winded video. Thank you for going through all the trials and tribulations I've gone through. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Go down there, subscribe, ring the bell for all notifications.